Welcome to the agenda, up and about after a fantastic win against the Cats. With me is Jay Clark from the Herald Sun. Jay, what a win, and an A-grader to come back into the mix.
Well, it was an outstanding win, Chris. So they got the Cats measure the Pies. That's their third straight win over them, and off a 5-day break. Just outstanding, really. So much more central and direct through the ball movement. But Ben Reid, he's coming back into the team, had the week off to rest, refresh Chriso, and you just think that he has to play forward now because Dunn comes in, stitches up Tomahawk. Shady was very good as well, if not pretty good. Howie back there. The one Collingwood player who's probably not in great touch and struggled again on the weekend was Mason Cox. So I think that Reedy has to play forward, Darcy Moore back in form, and that's the combination you've got to go.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think that's the way they've got to go. But what a courageous decision by Nathan Buckley to leave Ben Reid out. He could have played. They managed him through this tough period with 3 games in 12 days. But a long-term decision, a long-term view, despite the short-term pressure, it was fantastic.
And if they lost, it would have been egg on Nathan Buckley's face, but they won. It was full of character. The other one is Geordie De Goey. He's been in very good form in the VFL, maybe a bit quiet at the weekend. Does he come in? Probably for Varco, adds a bit of toughness. Him or James Aish, but I reckon Geordie De Goey would be a good inclusion as well. I know you want to talk about the captain.
Oh,
Chris,
yeah, I love the captain. What a performance. He's been under pressure from a personal standpoint, and of course his team has been under extreme pressure as well. But Scott Pendlebury was absolutely outstanding against the Cats. 33 disposals, 9 tackles, a goal. And he was the creator. He was the one that linked the play through the midfield. And I've got to say, I reckon it was probably his best game as captain. I reckon it was outstanding, given the fact, I mean, there's been talk that he's had an injury, that he's under pressure form-wise. But, gee, what a performance.
And Mick Maguire, I think an old teammate of yours, said that last year raised a question whether he should be captain.
Well, I don't think Mick was making an assessment about his playing ability. I don't think anyone can doubt he's a super player. The question mark was over captaincy. But if you judge what he did yesterday from a captain's perspective, well, then it doesn't get any better than that. Well, it was outstanding.
Last week, by saying he had the worst game in 10 years, I think he took all the pressure onto himself. Took it off the coach as captain, took it all onto himself. It was a very clever play and answered everyone really on the field with his performance. So you spot on. What about Chriso? The big story, one of the big stories yesterday was Levi Greenwood's performance on Joel Selwood. He was absolutely outstanding, Levi. Joel coming off a 43 possession game against St Kilda, was in red hot form. You watch Levi, didn't take him in the square, but then took him around the ground. So all this discussion that the tagger is dead, it's bull dust, Chriso. It's bull dust.
So do we go with this every week? Do we give Levi Greenwood the job every week, taking out the best midfielder of the opposition?
Strong case.
Do we play Greenwood on Cripps next week?
Yeah, well, I think more Murphy is the more damaging Carlton player. And yes, he's got more wheels, I think, so you can expose Levi with his running, maybe. But I think Murphy's the one who can really be more damaging around the contest. So he'd be the one I'd be looking down to. I think with Levi, just saw him at the club before, stepping into the pool, bit ginger. He's a very sore boy, but he won, so that was good too. He's happy with that smile on his face. I think if you narrow his focus, if you just make it more easy for him, he has proven to be a handy goal kicker. Narrow his focus on a very good player. Joel was not happy, got in his head. Really, it was a great match-up and a great tactical move by the
certainly was. Now, last week, Jay, we talked about the ball movement against Essendon.
Killing them.
Slow ball movement, not giving our forwards any chance whatsoever, and it's really hurt players like Darcy Moore. But against Geelong, it was absolutely outstanding. Back into the corridor and players taking the game on, moving the ball quickly. And guess what? We had an open forward 50 when the ball was coming in. It gave our forwards a semblance, a chance to actually convert some opportunities, and that's what happened. 2
players, Varco off the back of the square and Wells. How'd you rate those 2 guys?
Outstanding. I mean, he's Rolls Royce, Daniel Wells, isn't he? Every time he gets the ball, his efficiency rate with ball in hand is phenomenal. He makes the right decisions, and together with Pendlebury, who's very similar.
Played central in the square.
I don't reckon Scott Pendlebury got out of the centre square.
For the whole
game. He just drew the ball into him, into the corridor, and then linked play up.
Varco off the back, I thought he was just pivotal early because he gave the run and the central sort of ball use to Pendlebury and Wells. He's going to be a big loss this week. Well, he's got a hamstring, didn't play the whole game. He's a big watch in 6 days. I don't think he's going to get up. They'll miss him clearly. But with Hoskin Elliott, I don't hear a lot of criticism about the Wells recruitment anymore. Is that gone quiet or what?
Well, can it be repeated against Carlton? Let's hope so. Let's get to our Monday moments, Jay. And I want to start with my Monday moment. And this was a Monday moment with some anguish attached. Here's Big Mason taking the mark and...
Oh, boy.
He threw it. It was almost... I'm not sure, but you can see his initial movement. Now watch this. He looks as though he's going to kick it through the behinds.
I've never seen that before.
And then realised, I'm not in the goal square. He thought he was in the goal square and thought it was going to be an easy opportunity. Then realised, I'm in the wrong spot. And then had to change his mind. And then threw it back. That was classical. And you know what? It's very funny. It wouldn't have been so funny if the game had been lost by a couple of points.
Very good point. I think Benny Reid might want to just practice on his goal kicking this week because that's where he might start in place of that man Mason. So
your Monday moment, Jay.
Back to the VFL for you. Hey, we want to go back to the ball movement and just highlight some of this slick work after a pretty rusty first 5 rounds. This is where the sort of lace-out delivery comes through. So it goes Varco to Wells, over into the fat side and then to the captain running inside 50. Look, that's 4 minutes to go into the first quarter. Puts them a goal and a half up, and this was a real team lifter for me. It really showed that they could use the ball well, and the captain kicking the goal onto the run. I just thought everyone lifted at this moment, and when you're taking a really clever switch kick from Varco off the halfback flank to Wellesley, you hit the target, Pendlebury out forward, Hoskin Elliott involved as well. I just thought that was a real spark.
Yeah, goal from you. Now, this week against Carlton, just a quick word, because this is the arch enemy. This is the big rival.
Yes.
Can we do it on our 125th year anniversary?
Big occasion. If they play anything like that they did against Geelong, I think this could be a solid 8-goal win.
8 goals, yes, I like that.
A couple of injury concerns for Carlton. Wiedering, who got a cop the corky at the weekend, looks a sore boy, has been playing sore very courageously for a few weeks now. And also Jack Silvani. So their forward half is going to be really restructured with a couple of those injuries. Boy, they were good against Sydney, the Blues, but that lineup is going to change. Will Daisy Thomas come back in against his old mob?
Best on ground for the Blues in the VFL.
30 possessions.
It may well happen. That's all we've got time for on this week's edition of The Agenda. Let's hope for a big win against the Blues.